The Bahrain Grand Prix has just finished like an hour ago or so. Is there a better way to up my mood than by ranking each team from best to worst, or worst to best actually, because that's kind of better. I'm kind of mad at the race. I was expecting some hype, some close racing, a lot of like overtaking. Instead we got one of the most boring races I've seen in a while. Falling asleep watching it, I was not having fun whatsoever. So let's up my spirits and clown some teams. But yet we're still going to have to talk about Red Bull's dominance. So, you know what? Fair play to Red Bull. You know what? Congratulations. But I just want a close season. Anyway, let's get on with the video. But before we do, put your thoughts down in the comments of the race. I kind of want to hear what you guys thought about it. And while you're there, subscribe and like, because I genuinely don't know why you wouldn't. Yeah, enjoy the video. Starting off in P20, I've gone with, drumroll please. Actually, no, we don't need one. It's quite obvious. I've gone with Alpine. In qualifying, they finished qualifying in P20 and P19. Both, they were absolutely dreadful. Ocon tried to do a motivational speech. Didn't really work for them because in the race, they also finished quite poorly. 17th and 18th to be exact. Absolutely awful. Now, keep in mind that this is the team that had Alonso like 2 seasons ago. The team that had Piastri literally in their back pocket. And they've departed for, I guess, good reasons. Also, this is the French team that, Francais, the French team that literally said 2024, 2025 are going to try to battle for the championship. And how's that going? Well, they're battling not to finish P20, P10 in the constructors. Alpine, step the fuck up your game, or don't, because I actually don't mind if you're P10 in the constructors. You were irrelevant last year. I don't care. In P9, I've gone with steak, or in some countries, Saba, so let's just call it Saba for now, because I don't want to be thinking about Drake at all. Steak and Drake, too close. Zhou and Bottas both got knocked out in Q3, P16 and P17, and in the race, Zhou finished P11. You know what? Fair enough, and Bottas finished P19. I guess Zhou was kind of close to the points. He put on a good fight. But still, let's be real. If cars behind him weren't having some kind of major issues, Zhou would be toppling down the order like Bottas. They had a poor car last year and they've, well, been irrelevant for last year. And this year, they're also quite irrelevant. Knowing that Audi's buying them out, I kind of expected something much, much better. But that's something that they didn't have, or just they've been just shit, just awful. And however much this is going to hurt to say, me especially, because I'm a devoted and very loyal Williams fan, I'm going to have to put Williams in P8. Now that genuinely, like, it hurts my soul. Because as I said, I didn't say, but I expected Williams to cook up this season, have a good car. They've changed a lot, the whole philosophy, everything looks different, steering wheel, front nose, everything. I expected them to be cooking, on the gas literally from day one. But clearly, testing 1 didn't go to plan, and they still have Logan Sargent in the car, so I guess that's kind of their issue. Albon qualified P13 into Q2. Wow, couldn't make it into Q3, kind of unfortunate. And let's all not forget Sargent, still out in Q3. P17, not the greatest. And in the race, Sargent returns to his humble abode, P20, and Albon in P15. Just a poor showing. I know Williams were having some kind of issues in the race. Do I know what? No. Am I Williams? No. Do I like them? Yes, I do. But I don't know what fucking issues they were having. I know they were some issues. If it takes them half a season or even just a couple races to get on top of things, iron things out, I'm down for it. If say in 5 races, they're battling for P2s, hello? If they're battling for some decent points, I'll honestly be happy. I'll take it. I just don't want another 2022 Williams. That's just a boat. I want a good Williams where Albon can show his whole pace and battle for good points. But I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in this year so far. P7, I've gone with Haas. I guess Hülkenberg had a good quali, but his race was literally the total opposite. He qualified P10, fair play, into Q3. But then in the race, he kind of flipped Lance Stroll the other way around. Front wing damage going into turn 1, had to pit for hards on lap 1 from softs. Race pace wasn't the greatest. Magnussen finished, I think, P12. It's just another Haas year. It's just your typical Haas. Now, they are kind of faster than I expected. I thought they were going to be battling Alpine for P20, P18, P19. But I guess not. They were a tiny bit faster. But can they stay in that whole range for the whole season? Or will they drop down like a stone in water in the next couple rounds. And I hope they kind of do, because I want Williams back. A team that I had, well, the most hope for out of literally any other team in this whole grid, RB. I thought they were going to be in just battling for podiums off the get-go. Like, I generally thought Ricciardo was in for a shot to get a podium in the first 5 races, but I guess that's not the case. Tsunoda in his favourite spot on the grid, he qualified P11, Daniel Ricciardo qualified P14, and the race wasn't the best. Now, they had some squabbles later on in the race, and off the start, a couple of them went off the track, but that's just some minor issues. Yuki Tsunoda, thinking he's the real shit, said that Ricciardo's a slow driver on the radio, and fuck you, Yuki. No. You can't, of all people, you can't say that. But they finished the race P13 and P14. Now, agreed, Zhou and Magnussen were literally 2 or 3 seconds up the road for them. Daniel Ricciardo couldn't catch them on old softs, but team orders told them to switch around. Daniel Ricciardo go in front of Yuki. It was all kind of confusing. Yuki was mad, sad, kind of just a shit show in the last couple of laps. And I was expecting something much more from them, but I guess that didn't happen. So I'm also like very disappointed in the whole RB team. In P5, I've gone with Aston Martin. Now, their fall from grace compared to last year has been just detrimental. Last year, they had the second best car, and this year, well, probably the 5th, or just like genuinely the 5th. Alonso qualifies P6, all hippity-happity, and Lance Stroll doing Lance Stroll things can't get into Q3. Kind of disappointing. But nevertheless, Alonso kind of dropped down like a stone in water, using that phrase again, but hey-ho. And he finished the race in P9. Now, Stroll was facing backwards going into turn 1, and he somehow managed to scramble a point in P10. Now, is that a good Lance Stroll performance? I say yes. And you guys were all clowning me for saying that Lance Stroll was going to be cooking this year, and kind of cooking he was, especially in the race. Quali, maybe not. But in the race, good on Lance. Actually, good on Lance. The whole package isn't the best. They aren't Red Bull, but they're decent. They're decent. In P4, I've gone with McLaren. Now, yes, they always say that Bahrain doesn't suit them, but Norris qualified P7 and Piastri P8. Agreed, Norris, if he had a good Q3 lap, he was on for a P2 or maybe even a pole, but Lando doing Lando things, he fumbles when it's most important. So that didn't happen. And as a result, he started a bit lower down the grid. Honestly, a quite intense battle between Mercedes and McLaren, but McLaren kind of did it worse. Norris finished P6 and Piastri P8. Piastri has actually kind of closed the gap to Lando, it's not too far. He was doing good, but the car just wasn't there, you know? So that leaves us with the top 3 teams. In third, obviously, Mercedes. In the scrap with McLaren, they didn't have, or Russell had a good qualifying P3. Hamilton, BB needing a walking cane soon. It wasn't the greatest of performances in qualifying, and in the race, he kind of brought it back. Hamilton finished P7 and Russell P5. After practice on Thursday and Friday, I was expecting them to be battling Red Bull, but yet again, disappointment comes into play. Did I just overhype this season, or is it just shit? Like, I don't know. So that leaves us with P2. Ferrari. Now, Leclerc started P2, actually a decent qualifying if he kind of hooked up the lap a bit better. Easy pole, easy. He had the fastest lap of literally anyone in qualifying, but just couldn't deliver in Q3. Sainz started P4, did honestly respectable, and in the race he finished P3 after a couple good overtakes on Leclerc, but at the same time Leclerc was having like braking issues. He was turning right whilst he was braking. Wasn't the greatest sight to see, but are Ferrari regretting letting Sainz go for a guy with a walking stick? I don't know. And in P1, of course, the Dutch anthem special, Red Bull, they're just clear, like clear. Verstappen qualified P1 and Perez P5, and on track they had a 1-2 finish. Verstappen was 22 seconds in front of Perez, but just sheer dominance. I don't want to talk about them anymore because I don't want dominance, I want some good, entertaining races. Hamilton's period, that was annoying as well. Any dominant period is boring. Give me like a 2021 season, a 2016 season, even though I was kind of dominant from Mercedes. But still, it was a title battle. I want some of that. Anyway, in the comments, let me know what you thought of the whole season, if you guys enjoyed the race. If not, any complaints, put them down in the comments. Why should they subscribe and like? Because as I said, I don't know why you wouldn't. And hope we have a better Jeddah next week. See you soon. Anyway, peace.